It's the country's #1 RVing radio show, sponsored by RVTravel.com, with your host, Alan Warren, the RV Wingman.
Yes, it is. It is the RV Wingman. Excited to bring up our next guests. These are friends of mine who, they planned on RVing full time when they retired, but that funny thing called life got in the way. How are Jerry and Jeannie Cadre doing?
Well, wonderful, Al. How are you?
We're doing great, man. So you know what? In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about health care for RVers and get y'all's take. But before we go there, real quickly, I want you to tell how your plans to retire and hit the road as full-time RVers really were accelerated with that thing that we call life. Tell us what happened.
I'll let Jeannie tell you about that. She's got the first hand with that.
Hi, Alan.
Hi, Jeannie.
So it was Thanksgiving weekend of 2016, and we had a little travel trailer, and we were weekend warriors going out and camping and doing the short vacation thing, but had just talked about going full-time RV, but that was way in the future. When I unexpectedly went into cardiac arrest and had a massive heart attack at age 50. So it was a pretty dramatic day. Actually, the doctors and surgeons and everything were amazed that I was alive after going through it all. And so when I woke up in ICU several hours later with no recollection of what had happened, the first thing out of Jerry's mouth after he told me what happened to me was, "Let's sell everything and go right now."
Oh my God, Jerry, you had to be scared to death. I mean, Jeannie, you were probably obviously out of it. I mean, but Jerry, you had to be just dying while she was on the table.
It was unbelievable, Alan. You know, watching them, I was probably 15 feet away from the ER room where she was in, watching the whole thing where they were wiring her all up with those shock things and all that, and watching all that going on. And, you know, when the doctor came out, I didn't know if she was still with us or not. And they ended up having to transport her to another hospital, to a better cath lab, and get her, put in her a stent in. And the doctor told me at the first hospital, he said, you know, don't follow the ambulance, because if she makes it there, then they'll have to rush her right in and do a procedure. And, I mean, that right there, I thought, I didn't know what I was going to do. My whole life at that point had changed, you know, and luckily she's here today. So, yeah.
So Jeannie, how are you feeling? Are you feeling pretty good?
I'm great. Yeah, I actually fought really hard to get back and went back to work as quickly as possible. And actually 4 months after I had the heart attack, I completed my first 5K and placed third in my age division. So that was
I love it. All right, so you have had the health scare of hopefully we don't have very many of those in our lifetimes, but health care has got to be really important to you guys. I know you're full-time RVers. In terms of health care as full-timers, what do y'all do doctor-wise? Or what do you, I mean, does that kind of always in the back of your mind, what happens if we have something else? Or
it's always in the back of our mind now. And we make sure whenever we go to a town, before we get there, we know where the ER is, or we know where the medical places are. You know, you can run there for 24 hours or whatever. And we just make sure that we know where all that's at. It's pretty important with our history.
What about paperwork? I mean, I guess now that you're full-timers, you carry all that medical paperwork and your records with you?
Right. Well, we have, we're residents of Texas. Yay, go Texas. But we established our residency through escapees, and so we have residency in Texas, and our records are there. But we also, you know, can reference those and give our doctors' names back home to any doctors that we have encounters with on the road.
What kind of advice would you give to other people in terms of them going full-timing, you know, when it gets around to the subject of what do we do about finding a doctor and health care and pharmacies and all that kind of junk?
Well, a lot of what we do, and actually we had a situation, we were about 5 months in and we were in Deming, New Mexico. We were actually having a couple of weeks of downtime, just kind of enjoying life because we'd been working. And I woke up in the middle of the night and was not feeling well, and it was kind of a flashback to how I was feeling around the time I had the heart attack. And Jerry, of course, was, let's go now. So we jumped in the truck and we literally were Googling how to get to the nearest hospital. Fortunately, there was one, and it was good. And we got there and checked in. They kept me all night, ran every test known to man, and basically came back and said, well, your heart's fine. I'm not really sure what's wrong with you. So they eliminated all the cardiac stuff and I guess basically determined I had really bad heartburn or something.
Bad Mexican food, bad enchiladas.
Yeah, it was like some bad chili sauce. It was the green sauce. It was the green sauce.
Well, you mentioned New Mexico. I saw on Facebook you guys are hanging out in New Mexico again. What are you doing out there?
We are. We're actually in Tucumcari, which is their claim to fame is they're kind of one of the heartbeats of the Route 66, and so it's a charming little town. There's not a whole lot here, but what is here is a lot of the real nostalgic, the neon, motor court motels and curio shops and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of charm here, and we're actually here working for a couple of weeks. Doing guest guides for an RV park. I
was going to ask you to tell our listeners about that. You guys have found a really pretty cool gig that you're able to make pretty good money and travel full time. And I mean, what a deal! Yeah. Tell us about it.
Well, when we were talking about going RVing and when we retired and all that, I started thinking, well, I had a landscaping business and I didn't think I was going to be able to sit still for 10 minutes. So I thought, I need to check into some kind of work, and I looked into work camping and all this stuff, and I stumbled across this website, and it said, hey, if you need something to do, come on and check us out. We're called Southeast Publications, and we do campground guest guides. So, I investigated that. Well, to make a long story short, in the meantime, I ended up taking a camp post job up in Cloudcroft, New Mexico for 4 months, so I couldn't pursue that Southeast thing. So after we got done with that, I told Jeannie, I think I'm going to check into that. Well, lo and behold, I checked into it and liked what they had to say and offer, and here we are today. We're traveling around. We get to go where we want and work RV parks, wonderful RV parks, meet a lot of nice people, and make money doing it. So if anybody wants to make some good money and travel around and do it, I'd say give Southeast Publications a call.
If any campgrounds, though, I must say this, if any campgrounds are listening, you have to be careful about saying yes to Jerry and Jeannie. You got to park their fifth wheel back in the back, or it's going to make everybody else jealous that comes to your campground. What, did y'all buy new, or did you buy used? Because it looks like you bought everything that you could put on that dang fifth wheel.
No, we actually bought it. It was one of those deals where we just really got fortunate, and we found the toy hauler we wanted, and we're actually preparing to buy the brand new version of it. And Jerry was on Facebook Marketplace one night and found an ad for the exact trailer. It was 9 months old, and the people were having to sell it. And so it had everything we needed, and we were able to pay cash for it when we sold our house and deck it out with all the things we needed, because we like to be off grid sometimes. So we have our solar and composting toilets and all that good fun stuff.
Jerry, has the RV lived up to your expectations? I mean, is it? You don't need to name the brand, but has it lived up to its expectations, or there's always some kind of little issue with it?
You know what? It's pretty much 99% lived up. I mean, there are some standard issues that it seems like it's a toy hauler. And there's some standard issues that all toy haulers seem to have. There's certain things like we had an issue. We had a spring hanger break on it's a 3-axle trailer, and one of the spring hangers. We've had a lot of people that we know that toy haulers the same issue. And other things too, the little ramp doors, not little, but big ramp door, they're not at all water resistant or even waterproof for that matter. And if you leave them out in the rain, they're going to get saturated and tweaked out of shape and all that. We've had a little bit of problem with that. But by a long shot, I'd say our RV has held up quite well.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because so many of them don't. Listen, we are up against the clock, guys. Let's catch up here and again in a couple of weeks. What do you think? All right, y'all be careful. Travel safely. All right, Jerry and Jeannie Codry, folks, a very nice couple, smart, and they know how to have fun, I'll guarantee you. You can connect with the Codrys on our website. Just go to the links tab. You're listening to the country's #1 radio and social media show about the RV lifestyle. Back after this.